a friend. And my friend comes from a very popular band in Manila, Philippines. They're very, very popular. Now, should he be getting paid his share even if he isn't performing with the band? Hey guys, it's Paco Arespacochaga and welcome to Paco's Place. If you're here for the first time, I am a drummer, I am a father of 5 kids, I am a husband to a lovely wife, and a life coach to my friends. So since you're here, you're my friend. Now, like what I mentioned earlier, some groups, in my case, some bands, have different ways on how they split the dough. Some of them bands actually do it evenly among all the members. Other bands don't do it that way. They actually do percentage based on what you've contributed to the band. My band, Intro Voice, we do it 50-50 across all channels. So what determines the amount of money each band member makes? That's very, very subjective, and for this video, I am going to speak based on my experience and based on what I've heard from other bands as well. Intro Voice has been in the business for over 3 decades. And ever since the beginning, we've always divided the money equally among ourselves. So before we go into how many slices the pie is sliced, for Intro Voice, there is a vocalist, a drummer, a guitar player, a keyboard player, and a bassist. That's how it was in the past. And then we had a manager, and then we had a production manager. So 7 people. What we did was, we divided the money by 8 people. 8? And this was done during the beginning of the band. So let's say, for argument's sake, right? $8,000. $8,000, you divide that by 8, everybody gets $1,000 bucks. The manager gets $1,000 bucks, the road manager gets $1,000 bucks, the singer gets $1,000 bucks, everybody gets $1,000 bucks. And the band as a whole gets $1,000 bucks. And that money is actually used for equipment replacement, buying extra gear, rental for studio time, all that stuff. And then our band grew. Now we had roadies and we had people working for us. They too got an equal share of the pie. Now that could be tricky, and by now some of you might go, ooh, a roadie gets the same amount of money that Mr. Popular Guy gets in the band? For Intro Voice, the simple answer is yes. So where does the roadies funds come from? Well, that comes from the band fund. In other words, the band fund will now pay for the extra hands that we need in order to complete a live show. Sometimes our roadies aren't really 100% invested in the band, which means we only need them during a live performance, and as such, they don't make the same amount of money that our manager, road manager makes. So now you might say the vocalist is more popular than the bassist. How come they make the same amount of money? It's because everybody puts in the same amount of effort. Our pay, Intro Voice, is not determined by the number of fans each member has. We treat each member with respect and with equality, and we expect each member to act accordingly.
Na-overexpose yung camera ko, yung ulo mo na nagbabounce.
In the case of Intro Voice, JJ Buencamino might be a very quiet member of the band. He makes the same amount of money Jonathan Buencamino makes, but a lot is expected from JJ. He might not be an extrovert on stage, but most of our pre-production are done by Vic Carpio and JJ Buencamino, so they do most of the work behind the scenes. Come to think of it, even our road manager slash sound engineer makes the same amount of money. It's because whenever we have rehearsals, guess what? He is also there. Whenever we're in the studio, everybody's in the studio because everybody is expected to be in the studio because everybody makes the same amount of moolah. So now, is it okay if one member makes more than the other member? It really depends. If the other members are okay with that, then I guess that's okay. I was reading the biography of Andy Taylor from Duran Duran, and he mentioned in the book when he rejoined the band together with Roger Taylor, the drummer of the band, they weren't making the same amount of money that Simon Le Bon and Nick Rhodes were making because they left and came back. We don't do it that way with Intro Voice. Now, this is a very sensitive topic, and there are bands who actually don't talk about this from the get-go. To you guys, my advice is do not take the money part for granted. Don't put that in the back burner. That's something that you guys should be talking about before you even go to your first gig. Talk about how you guys are gonna divvy up royalties. In our case, this is how we do it. Album sales, everybody gets a cut equally. Merchandise, everybody gets a cut equally. In the past, we've written songs individually. Whoever wrote the song makes the money. So publisher makes 50%. The rest of the 50% goes to whoever wrote the song. That's what we used to do in the past. Today, we all agree that everybody present in creating the song gets a cut from songwriting credits. It's just that simple. That way everybody's motivated, everybody's expected to pitch in and perform and do their best. I have a friend, and my friend comes from a very popular band in Manila, Philippines. They're very, very popular. Now, my friend migrated to another country. Pretty much, he is not playing or touring with his band. Note, he's still part of the band. My question to you, write your answers in the comments below. Should he be getting paid his share even if he isn't performing with the band? Here's my answer to that. Now remember, he's a prominent member of this band. He migrated to another country, but he did not quit the band. So every time he's in the Philippines, he still performs with the band. Or every time the band has gigs outside the Philippines, he still performs with the band. But if the band has local gigs or gigs where he's not available, according to him, he doesn't get paid. And to that, my answer was, you should get paid. I asked him, so who plays your parts when you're not available? His response was, the band actually gets a session musician to play with them. And to that, my response was, then you should be getting your share of the pie after paying the session musician who is actually covering for you. Because according to him, the session musician gets a session rate and everybody else divides the pie accordingly after paying the musician the session rate. If that was an intro voice gig, it wouldn't happen that way. Session musician gets paid by the member who cannot attend the gig, and whatever is left after expenses incurred by the hired gun, we give the rest of the money to our bandmate, because we are not discounting the fact that our bandmate who couldn't make it to that gig was very instrumental, no pun intended, in the conception and the success of the band as it is now. But then again, that's just my 2 cents, right? To each his own. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Put it in the comments below. Others actually give a percentage to the manager. I would do that if my manager actually is taking care of other bands, which means the manager is not exclusively working with your band. Just give the manager a percentage, because that manager really isn't 100% invested in your band. That's my rule of thumb. Anybody who is 100% invested in the band gets an equal share of the pie. It just makes perfect sense. So I guess that's it for now. It's a short vlog. I may be talking about bands, but the reality is this whole concept of equality is actually my little analogy in promoting a team spirit. My message to you guys is never downplay or ignore the most quiet member of your group, because you never know when that member can pull out a rabbit out of his or her hat that will help all of you, you included, to succeed. Show them their value from the get-go, and I will guarantee you that you will have their loyalty, you will have their respect, and you will have their trust and commitment for a long, long time. That's it for now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the bell icon so the next time I post another video, you guys are notified. And comments, put them in the comments below. If you don't have anything to say but would like to participate in the comments, just put the word salary or the $sign. That way I can read your name, I can visit your channel and all that stuff. Again, my name is Paco Arespacochaga. Thank you very much for tuning in to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video.